What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about little Ivy Leagues. I mean, we all know what Ivy Leagues are. Those 8 Ivy League schools in New England areas. Most people know about them. But like, what are little Ivy Leagues? How many schools are there? Liberal arts colleges in the New England and the East Coast areas. How can you compare those liberal arts colleges with Ivy League schools? Ivy League schools are small too. What are the differences? How good do you have to be in order to get accepted in the first place? Those things we'll talk about. There are some pros and cons. Not many cons. There are a lot of pros compared to the Ivy League schools. If you're an athlete, listen carefully today. There are some things you probably want to write down. Let's begin. Now, just in case you guys don't know who I am, my name is Andy. I have been private college consultant for the past 21 years. We mainly focus on U.S. college admissions, SATs, and all those test preparations as well. We're located in Seoul, Korea. We have clients all over the world, mostly students who go to boarding school in the States, Canada, China, Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, Singapore, Indonesia as well, everywhere. Let's go back to the topic we're going to talk about today. Little Ivy Leagues and NESCAC, NASCAC, top liberal arts colleges. That's what we're going to talk about today. So what the heck is NESA? I messed that up already. NESCAC, right? So New England Small College Athlete Conference, or simply NESCAC. So there are 11 liberal arts colleges, just like the Ivy League schools. 8 schools in the East Coast, they got together originally those 8 Ivy League schools first started off as a football league, right? A sports league. So these liberal arts colleges, same thing. There are 11 schools. Let me show you what those 11 schools are here. Amherst, Bates, Bolden, Colby, Connecticut College, Hamilton, Middlebury, Trinity College, Tufts, Wesleyan, Williams. These colleges come together and then play sports together. So their own small league. That's where the name came from. But it turns out that these schools happen to have great programs too. So if you look up U.S. college rankings, U.S. News college rankings, and search for liberal arts colleges, most of these colleges are up on the top. We'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so little Ivies, what they call it. So what are little Ivy League schools? 11 schools, highly competitive liberal arts colleges in the Northeast, not just the New England, but Northeast area over here. If you're looking at from the, is it here? You know what I mean, like East Coast, Northeast Coast. There are 7 additional schools. Bucknell, Colgate, Haverford, Lafayette, Swarthmore, Union, Vassar. So these colleges are probably everything in the New England area and the Northeast section of the country over there, up there. Small liberal arts colleges. Now, how do you compare these colleges with the Ivy League schools? I mean, in terms of playing sports, usually Ivy League schools, it says it here too. Ivy League schools play sports all throughout the year. Let's say football. You play football in the fall season, so you get together with a coach, players, exercise together, team meetings, and then practice, and then actually participate in the league during fall semester. What's happening during spring semester? These guys still practice together. And they call it off season, but the team actually runs all throughout the year. That's what Division I schools do. Division I Ivy Leagues play in Division I sports. Now, these little Ivy Leagues, right? These liberal arts colleges, they play in Division III schools. The biggest difference is between Division I and Division III schools. Or Division III schools, they only play when they have a season on, their own season. Like ice hockey, they only play during winter. Like football, they only play fall semester. And then spring semester, these players or students, they all go back to whatever they have to. So technically, they could be a player or a student who plays a fall sports and something on the second semester, spring semester, and then, play 2 sports technically. But if you're an Ivy League school, it's really hard to do that because Division I schools play sports all throughout the year. That's what Division I and Division III means. That's the biggest difference. Next, let's talk a little bit about rankings. Now, if you look up U.S. News college rankings, most of these liberal arts colleges are ranked really right up there. 50% of these top 10 schools are the U.S. News and the World Report's best national liberal arts colleges. We'll get to that. Let me show you the U.S. News College website in a bit. Right here, National Liberal Arts Colleges. This is 2021 January version. Up here, there are a lot of ads here too. Williams ranked number 1, Amherst, Swarthmore, Pomona, that's on the West Coast, that's in California. Wellesley, Bowdoin, now Wellesley is an all-women college, by the way. Claremont, McKenna, United States Naval Academy, Carton, Hamilton, here we have more. Middlebury, Washington and Lee, Glenelg, Vasa. You could see this, you could just Google it, type it in, and then you could see the whole list as well. But most of these little Ivy League schools are ranked right up here, especially these 3 schools, Williams, Amherst, and Swarthmore. They've been top 3 for the past 20 years, I think. So one would wonder, what's so great about these little Ivy League schools, small liberal arts colleges, right? Here is a main benefit to attend a smaller college compared to other big-size universities here. Smaller populations and campuses can often facilitate especially productive and consistent relationship between professor and students, because the professors there, their main job there is to teach students. Most of professors at these small-size colleges don't have a research job of their own. So their main, the reason that they're there is to teach college students. So it's almost like a little big size high school sort of environment that you could expect, that sometimes, you could, not sometimes, if you have questions during class or after class, you could go up to professor and talk to them. If you attend a big size university, I will probably have to say that's almost impossible. Like if you go up to professor will normally say, okay, I'm a little busy, can you talk to one of the TAs? And then teaching assistants will probably, come to you, and then you get to ask questions and then about the concept you learned during that day or during lecture and so forth. But smaller colleges, it's really easy to grab a professor to talk to them. That's the greatest thing about it. Plus, that leads to high graduation rates. Schools like Bowdoin, Amherst, 90% or higher graduation rate. That's pretty high. That's extremely high. Just keep that in mind. What about SAT scores? So like how good do you have to be in order to get into these liberal arts colleges or Ivy League school? Let's compare these two on average. On average here, the SAT score, Harvard student, this is 16 and 17 season. That's like a few years ago, but between 710 and 800 in the reading and writing, and 720 and 800 on math. And someone who went to Williams College scores 670 to 770, and math scores 660 and 770. So let's say Ivy League is like over here, 720 and 800, and then little Ivy League is down here, like one down, but not so much. They're close enough. They're almost right up there, probably one level down. So on average, usually people would say the highest, or usually people would say, compared to the Ivy Leagues, these little Ivy Leagues, probably 40 points overall SAT score, 40 points lower on average than the Ivy League schools. It really depends on what Ivy League school you compare with which liberal arts colleges, but on average, about 40% lower. So, you get the idea. If you look at the acceptance rates, right, let's do those. Now over here, this is a couple of years old information. Keep that in mind. Harvard, Yale, Princeton have acceptance rate of down here 5.4%, 6.5%, 6.3%. So 5.5% to 6% on average. But the top 3 liberal arts colleges are 13.7%, Amherst 17%, Wesleyan 17%, Williams. So it's 3 times kind of easier to get into the liberal arts colleges. The main reason for that is although the education, the programs that they offer about the same. It's just the name value of the Ivy League schools draw more attention to students, other candidates out there. So Ivy Leagues are a whole lot more popular. They receive a whole lot more applications. The acceptance rate will drop every freaking year. Liberal arts college is not so popular, but if you just talk about the programs and educations, I would have to say they're almost equivalent. Just keep that in mind. Hey, so today if someone comes up to you and asks, are you going to apply to little Ivy League schools? Have you ever heard about little Ivies? So now you know it. So you get an idea. It's really something that you probably want to look into. These colleges are very strong, but compared to, most popular schools like Ivy League schools, it's rather a little bit easier to get into. But the program's size is just the number of students, a little smaller, but you get more attention, better relationship with the faculty and teachers and professors there too. And there are pros and cons. I will try to create another video just to talk about pros and cons of little Ivy League schools or liberal arts colleges next time if I get a chance. But today, thanks for watching the video until the end. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.